use you guys as guinea pigs in the class today, but also it's a part of the rubric that we're learning, okay? So the first thing is you all have a handout, and your handout is the rubric that we have up on the screen here of what's required for the book trailer project, okay? Everybody should be real familiar with this. I had a student ask me, how do I know if I've got everything covered? Well, that's why we gave you the rubric. You can go down the list and say, did I have all the required elements? Do I have a book title and author? Do I have pictures? Do I have credits? We're also looking to use Comic Life to set up your all your pictures and stuff. Are you using the various mechanics in iMovie? Did you use GarageBand or something else for music? Do you have music involved? So all those pieces, so you can just check that off. That's the mechanics is, did you spell things correctly? Did you use spell checker? Is it spelled right? Because you want to be professional in what you're presenting. The video theme, is it flow? Or is it choppy? Does it make sense? Is it something that's going to draw us in? Okay? So that's the thing you can use to check is this book trailer. Now the other is this rubric. Now the other thing we're going to do, as you enter into this to make sure that you have everything covered, is up here on the board. So what we're doing is we're using two strategies. We're using this directed reading strategy, which you're going to do in a moment, and then later we'll do a paired reading strategy just to confirm it. But we're reinforcing our project. We're using the rubric as our reading material, and we're going to look through all these things to make sure it's that, and then at the end of class today we'll do our demos. So what you're going to do first is you've got the rubric on one side, and then you've got this, it's called the Directed Reading Strategy template on the other. Now what I want you to do is, as you're thinking through your movie real quick, this is helping you recap what we've been working on. I want you to, up here it says, you're going to do prediction and then confirmation. So what you're going to do is read through the rubric, and you're going to say, okay, here's what I expected to do with this thing, and here's what I actually did. Here's what I expected, here's what I actually did. And you want to probably have 4 or 5 things down here, what your expectations were when you started this, and then how you actually did it. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to everybody? Any questions on that? You'll do this as an individual, just by yourself. It'll take only about 5-10 minutes to do it, and then we're going to do a paired up where you're going to pair, and you're going to read your strategies back and forth to each other to make sure you got everything covered on the project. Does that make sense? So 2 strategies. First you do it individually. Here's what I thought I was going to do. Here's what I did. And then the second one, you're going to pair up, and together you're going to read the rubric again and make sure you got everything covered. And this is just to help us make sure we got all the T's crossed and the I's dotted in our project. Make sure you got everything covered. Make sense? Any questions? Okay, so let's do the first one. We got about 5 minutes just on this. Write down what you expected to do with this project, several things, and then what you actually did. Okay? And you have the pieces over here on the rubric, so if you get confused and say, oh, I don't know, look at the pieces that we were working on. Okay, so let's do that for 5 minutes. You can write on the gray and the white. Okay? So use the whole thing. Yes?
Are we writing what we were expecting to do for the prediction before it's arrived?
Your prediction is what you were thinking that you were going to do, and then your confirmation is what you actually went ahead and did. And we're using the rubric as your strategy. Think about that. Because when we assigned this project, you came into it with an idea of what you thought you might do, and now we're going to say, here's what I thought I'd do, here's what I actually did. We won't take too long on this because I want to get to the paired strategy here in a little bit. So we'll go about 5 or 10 minutes. 9. Well, what you do is think through your mind with this project. What is the project? But what is it based on? A book that you read, right? So you have a book that you read, and now you're going to create a iMovie, but it's more than an iMovie. What is it? A preview, yeah, it's a commercial for that book that's going to draw people in and make them want to read that book, right? So you're going to write down all the things you thought about when we first first told you here's what you're going to have to do.
This is like
And then here's what I thought that I would do, and then on the other side is what I actually did.
the whole thing have to be filled out.
Well, we want to get 4 or 5 ideas on there, but it doesn't have to be that exhaustive, you know.
Okay, do you have to have only
Yeah, go with half and half. So like what I was going to do was here, and then what I actually did was here. See how it is? That's okay, you can do that too, but you know, here's kind of what we're going to do.
I'll just do this.
What's your part of top and bottom? Yeah, that's fine. What do we do?
So, can we just write
So,
what we expect to get?
here's what you expected to do in the beginning of the project. Just think back and say, here's what I thought I was going to do with this. And here's what I actually did. Okay? So like when I gave you this, and this is just to give you ideas of what to think about. You have to read through the strategies and stuff, and then you say, okay, that gives me an idea of what to write over here. So the first thing, when we gave you guys this assignment, we said, we want you to do a commercial on a book. What did you think? Did you think how you would do it? So, okay, yeah, see, that's the whole point, is it didn't turn out anything like you thought it would. But what did you think when you first started? You thought, oh, how am I going to do this? What am I going to use to do it? Okay, so you can write that one. I didn't know what I was going to use to do this. And then over here you can say, oh, I learned to use iMovie, and now I know how to use iMovie. You know, and then here you can say, you know, gosh, I didn't think I was going to have music on it, but now, you know, I've learned how to use GarageBand and throw some music in there too. Does that make sense? Huh? Well, do as many as you can. I just want, you know, 4 or 5, because we want to get to the next piece here in a minute. You've all gave us this idea of what you thought you were going to do, and you've given me some feedback on what you were going to do, okay, and what you actually did. And now what I want you to do is pair up with a partner. And I want you to just simply go back through our rubric here, and you can use the flip side that you just worked on. Go back through the rubric, and I want you to read the first column to each other, what the best of the best would be. If I was to hit it all, how would I get an A on this project? And what are all the requirements that were needed? So just with your partner, go back and read through what it is, and then the first column. Okay? And what this is now our paired reading strategy, where you're pairing up and you're discussing after you read it what you thought it means and what you're going to need. Some of you may need to change something in your movie. You might read through this and say, oh, there's something I forgot. Or, oh, I need to make this just a little better than what I have. So the idea is that we've looked at what our expectations were. We've actually talked about what we did. And now here's a chance to compare it against what we're going to be graded on and see if there's anything more we want to add. Make sure we got everything covered in the rubric that's required for this project. So with your partner, we'll do the first 2 columns, read through those, and give each other feedback on what you're going to do. And then after that, we'll break up. I'll hand these in, make sure your name's on them for me. But we'll break up and finish our iMovies. Okay? So that's our next step. Yes?
Are we showing some today?
Yes, we're going to show some in the last 15 minutes of class. How many are done and want to show them? Okay, we got 3, so we'll show those 3. Okay, so go ahead and do the paired reading together real quick and have a discussion for about 5-10 minutes.
I think mine
Incorporates the following elements in creative ways. Entitled author to purchase credits for copyrighted images or copyrighted coefficient uses grammar correctly, sentences with the subject-verb agreement, uses a variety of sentence types, makes various punctuation errors, 0 to 1, sentences with
Narrator uses a variety of sentence types, makes very few punctuation errors, 0 to 2 spelling errors.